It's a very sad day in Tanzania. The videos are very disturbing. Dead bodies littered everywhere, being piled like logs. Human bodies. It's very sad, ladies and gentlemen. Before we dig deeper into that, let me bring to your attention this. There is this article that can help us understand where the rain started beating Tanzanians. In this paper, it has found that the process of appointing judges and removal are well codified under the Constitution of the United Republic of Tanzania, Cap 2 RE 2002, as well as Judiciary Administration Act of 2011. The procedures are not exhaustive to guarantee the independence of judiciary in the country. For instance, Chief Justice, Justice of Appeal, and judges of the High Court are all appointed by the executive arm of the state, the president. Also, Chief Justice in Tanzania has no security of tenure. He can be removed at any time by the president. There is where the problem started. Tanzania has no judiciary. Individuals masquerading as judges in Tanzania are all puppets being controlled by the president of Tanzania. The president directly, single-handedly appoints the Chief Justice, Justices of Court of Appeal, and also appoints High Court judges with the advice of the Judicial Service Commission. So basically, Tanzania's president appoints all judges and he can fire them at any given time. There is where the first problem started. The second problem, in Tanzania, you can't challenge an election. Once the Electoral Commission in Tanzania has declared presidential results, you can't challenge in any court of law. It remains the way Electoral Commission declared. That's another problem, ladies and gentlemen. A country without a proper judiciary, or a country where judges are not independent, there is no country there at all. Tanzanians have got a very long way to go, but one day they will reach there, but they still have a long way to go. You can't compare Kenya to Tanzania. Kenya has walked this journey before. Kenyans were killed in their quest for a new constitution, and eventually Kenya had its new constitution. It's high time Tanzanians should now be advocating for a new constitution. The constitution they are currently using is not tenable. It can't guarantee them freedoms of movement and even freedoms of speech. That constitution favors those in power. That's what I'm seeing here, ladies and gentlemen. The president appoints judges, and the president can fire those judges at any moment. He or she can wake up to fire the judges. Bodies littered in Tanzania, and mostly of young individuals. We've seen the opposition estimating the deaths to be around 700 to 800. I think those are the bodies littered across Tanzania. They are those bodies. And they might have been killed on the day Tanzanians went to the election, the second day, and most probably on the third day. We all know there was a curfew in Tanzania from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Those deaths might have occurred most probably around that time. Most of those deaths might have happened around that time. It's very painful, ladies and gentlemen. Tanzanians, on their part, they got it wrong. And I keep repeating this. The protest ought to have happened when Samia Suluhu locked out opposition candidates. That's when Tanzanians ought to have protested. They never protested. They waited until the last day, election day, for them to protest. And on that election day, their intention, their protests, were to go disrupt the election. So in one way or the other, they started it on a wrong footing. One way of dealing with the rogue government is just to follow the law. Let that rogue government blunder. Let it expose itself to the world. If Tanzanians could have turned out in their millions on the election day to vote out Samia Suluhu, even if she would wanted to rig, it could have been very difficult for her to rig that election. Attempting to rig that election, where let's say 70 to 80% Tanzanians were rejecting her, that could have exposed her. It could have exposed an open rigging. Tanzanians could have used that to now protest. And the whole world could have seen that they were protesting because a rogue regime rigged an election. But if you look at what happened on 29th of October, instead of Tanzanians going to cast their votes, they were out protesting, disrupting the election. So they were playing to the whims of the dictator. They played to the whims of the dictator. They gave the dictator a wonderful opportunity of killing them. But we must condemn what has happened in Tanzania. It's very painful. Some of those videos and images, we can't share them here. And even I know you might not even want to look at them. Dead bodies being piled like logs. Bodies littered everywhere. Dead bodies. Bullet wounds on most of the bodies. It's very unfortunate, ladies and gentlemen. Kenyans should learn a lesson from Tanzania. The best way of dealing with a dictator, let the dictator mess. Don't give the dictator a chance to justify his or her actions. That's the only way, ladies and gentlemen. Tanzanians should now be demanding for a new constitution that in one way or the other can at least help them. But as things are, I feel they are helpless. But a day will come, they will win. Let me stop it there, ladies and gentlemen. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give the video a like. Those watching us outside Kenya, drop a comment, let us know from which part of the globe you are watching us from. If possible, subscribe, give the video Like, let's meet in our next analysis. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Kenya.